When Egypt flashes in the mind's eye, what grips you first? The vast triangles of stone rising from the dunes, or that silent guardian with a human gaze and a lion's body? The deeper revelation: this desert nation shelters the densest cache of archaeological wonders on Earth. In the so-called land of eternity, stories of belief, power, and myth are layered into rock. Every monument carries a secret that never quite finishes speaking. Step forward to the seam where yesterday meets today. Here begins a passage into marvels that feel immune to time. Along the generous bend of the Nile, a brilliant civilization took shape and stamped itself across centuries. From small city-states around 3100 BCE, Egypt unified and thrived through three golden arcs. The Old, Middle, and New Kingdoms, punctuated by turbulent interludes. Pharaohs ruled as both sovereigns and embodiments of the divine, fusing politics, ritual, and daily life into one system. With hieroglyphic script, deft mathematics, and disciplined astronomy, Egyptians built a culture whose puzzles continue to fascinate the modern world. Luxor, ancient Thebes, anchored Egypt's heart through the Middle and New Kingdoms. For ages, it served as capital and ceremonial stage, a city that honored gods, enthroned pharaohs, and set eternity in stone. Temples and tombs still crowd its map, each one humming with devotion and authority. At the city's core stands the temple devoted to Amun and Khonsu. Limestone columns and processional courts wear a skin of intricate reliefs. By night, amber light skims statues and colonnades, and the complex feels alive again, as if festival drums might rise at any moment along the avenue of sphinxes. Karnak. Just to the north, Karnak expands like a walled universe of faith, the largest religious complex of the ancient world. Enter the hypostyle hall and it becomes a forest of pillars, each one incised with hymns, victories, and prayers. Here, priests once performed rites to keep the cosmos in balance. The sacred scarab stood for rebirth without end. Even in ruin, Karnak radiates presence, as though the deities merely stepped out into the sunlight. Valley of the Kings. Across the river, the West Bank hides royal burials cut into barren cliffs, the Valley of the Kings. Tombs glow with murals that guide a pharaoh's soul past dangers and toward renewal. The near-intact discovery of Tutankhamun's resting place still fuels legends, curses, destiny, and questions wrapped in gold leaf. Alexandria. Founded in 331 BCE by Alexander the Great, Alexandria became a meeting point for Egyptian tradition, Greek learning, and later, Roman ambition. Its legend centers on the Great Library, once said to hold hundreds of thousands of scrolls. Though time and fire erased it, the dream survives in the Bibliotheca Alexandrina, a modern ark of glass and granite looking out to sea like a lighthouse for knowledge. Another wonder, Pharos. The famed lighthouse stood for centuries before earthquakes toppled it. Divers still find traces beneath the waves, while reconstructions hint at its stature. Along the Corniche today, cafes hum, fishermen cast, and the wind salts the air with history. Giza Plateau. On Cairo's desert rim, the Giza Plateau rises like an exclamation. 3 pyramids define the skyline, proof of engineering audacity and spiritual intent. The Great Pyramid of Khufu dominates. Precision-fitted blocks, tight corridors, and chambers that feel less like rooms than thresholds between worlds. Nearby, Khafra's pyramid still holds a memory of smooth casing stone at its crown. At its feet reclines the Great Sphinx, lion body, royal face. Its calm silence as famous as its missing nose, a gap that invites endless theories. Menkaura's pyramid, smaller yet beautifully proportioned, completes the triad. Together, they argue for a worldview where death was a passage and stone could escort a soul toward the stars. To the ancient mind, resurrection was not metaphor. Building these monuments was an act of faith made visible. Cairo. Leave the hush of the plateau and the city surges back. Mother of the world. It's a collage of epochs. Traffic horns and bread sellers. Children darting through crowds. Ottoman minarets shouldering glass towers. Disorder and poetry share the skyline. In Khan el-Khalili, voices stack in many languages over pyramids of spice, rugs, and brass lamps. The Egyptian Museum guards a different kind of noise, the quiet shock of gold. Tutankhamun's mask gleams at the center, surrounded by papyri amulets, coffins, and tools of ordinary life lifted from deep time. Walk its galleries, and it feels less like a museum than a 5,000-year narrative you've stepped inside. By night, cafes glow, shisha scents the lanes, and minarets burn softly against the dark. Cairo becomes both ancient and new in the same breath. Dahshur. South of the capital, Dahshur speaks in prototypes and bold experiments. Sneferu's bent pyramid climbs steeply, then changes angle mid-ascent, as if the stone reconsidered its plan. Whether a rescue of faulty calculations or a deliberate safety shift, the result is unique. His red pyramid followed, Egypt's first true smooth-sided giant. Its limestone blushing under desert sun. Walk the narrow passages, and you can feel the blueprint that later enabled Giza's grandeur. The Nile. The Nile is not a backdrop, it is Egypt's pulse. Without it, as the saying goes, there would be no Egypt. With most of the country given to desert, this single river has kept life flowing for millennia. From orbit, the land reads as a pale canvas crossed by a vivid green ribbon. Villages lean toward the banks. Palms move in slow conversation with the breeze. Fields are tended with methods that echo the past. At dusk, the river becomes a mirror, red and gold laid across moving water. Memory keeps its creatures too. The Nile crocodile, once tied to the god Sobek, still haunts the imagination. Abu Simbel. On Lake Nasser's shore, Abu Simbel seems carved from a command. Ramses II ordered 2 rock-cut temples here over 3,000 years ago. 4 colossal seated statues, nearly 20 meters tall, front the great temple, their faces fixed on horizons beyond the lake. One lost its head in an ancient quake, yet the ensemble remains overwhelming. Inside, columned halls flare with reliefs, triumphs, rights, a king as both man and divine. Most astonishing is the solar choreography. Twice each year, around February 22nd and October 22nd, sunrise threads the passage and lights the sanctuary's statues, leaving Ptah, lord of the underworld, in shadow by design. Beside it stands the temple for Nefertari, the queen shown at equal scale with the pharaoh, a rare honor etched in stone. Abydos. Far older than Luxor's rise, Abydos drew pilgrims who sought nearness to Osiris, god of death and renewal. Sethling's temple is a masterpiece of refined carving, processions, offerings, blessings, rendered with exquisite control. On its walls, the Abydos king list recites dynasties like a litany of time. Behind the complex, the Osirion rests below ground, massive blocks and ever-seeping water, giving it the feel of a cosmic chamber. Weathered glyphs have sparked debates for generations, misreadings, coincidences, or hints of knowledge long lost. The mystery is part of the magnetism. White Desert. Out on the Bahariya side, the White Desert looks like another planet. Wind and time sculpted chalk and limestone into improbable shapes, mushrooms, beasts, towers rising from a flat stage. Under noonlight, the world turns brilliant, almost lunar. By sunset, oranges and crimsons sweep across pale rock until the desert seems painted in fire. Night unveils a river of stars, and the only sound is the wind writing over sand. Red Sea. On the Sinai fringe at Sharm el-Sheikh, legend and nature overlap. Religious tradition places a miracle here, the waters parting to grant escape and then closing behind in a triumph of faith and freedom. Yet even without the miraculous, the Red Sea astonishes. Beneath the surface, reefs teem with life, schools of bright fish, gliding turtles and rays, coral gardens in motion. Above, the color shifts by hour, pale at dawn, emerald by noon. A deepening red at day's end when the sun slips behind the desert escarpment. Edfu and Philae. Between Luxor and Aswan, the Temple of Edfu stands among the best-preserved sanctuaries in Egypt, dedicated to Horus, the falcon-headed protector. Its pylons tower with reliefs of mythic battle. The forecourts and hyper-style halls are coated in hieroglyphs that narrate struggle and order. Horus against Seth, light refusing chaos. Inscriptions recall boat processions where priests bore the god's sacred bark along the river, reenacting victory to keep the world intact. Near Aswan, the island temple of Philae honors Isis, mother, magician, guardian of rebirth. Reliefs show tenderness and ceremony side by side. A divine mother with her child. A king presenting offerings to the pantheon. At dusk, the colonnades glow and their reflections drift on the Nile, the complex hovering between eras. Dahab. On Sinai's southeast coast, Dahab threads together mountain, surf, and community. Simple cafes and guest houses line the promenade. Fishermen mend nets at first light. The call to prayer glides across the water. Offshore, the The blue hole tempts divers with a dramatic drop and walls wrapped in coral. It's both a training ground and a legend, beauty edged with respect. Siwa Oasis. Siwa feels suspended between tail and terrain. Palms, date gardens, and olives shimmering against a horizon of dune. Saltwater lakes flash turquoise by day and turn gold at sunset. Mirrors that catch the sky's last fire. Villages built from kerchef, salt, clay, and mud blend into their environment, while Charlie's ruined fortress rises like a sand-colored citadel weathered by time. In the Age of Empire, an oracle at the Temple of Amun drew Alexander here. He left proclaimed the son of a god, binding Siwa to the currents of history. Few walls remain, but the aura persists, a hush that makes even wind sound ceremonial. Egypt offers a passage through stone and story, pyramids that argue with time, museums that unfold 5 millennia, deserts that glow like embers, and seas that breathe in color. Each place carries its own gravity, where ancient ritual braided with modern life keeps the country's heartbeat audible. Carry the sensation home, the feeling of standing where the past still speaks, and the present knows how to listen.